Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Nadex Morning Analysis, where we look at potential hotspots in the markets for the day. It is Tuesday, June 22nd. My name is Todd Rich. With me from Keep Trading Simple, Brian Caprice. Before Brian and I jump into it, I do need to quickly run through this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. All right, so with that, what are we looking at in the markets? We had a great rebound rally yesterday. Right now, the U.S. equities are opening flat. They're very, very slightly in the green, but they're opening flat. So we'll have to wait and see how the retail trader wants to react after yesterday's rally. We do have Fed Chairman Jay Powell testifying in front of Congress today at 2 p.m. So Fed Powell at 2 p.m. Eastern. With that, the couple of things that Brian and I were going to look at. One is going to be gold. I've got the chart up in front of me. You can see that after a very significant sell-off, gold has mellowed out and seems to be a little bit range-bound. We'll go through some of those technical levels. Then we'll jump over and look at probably the S&P 500, take a look at what's going on in equities. And then we'll probably call it that today. And by the way, right now, I'm thinking about it before I forget, and then I'll turn it over to Brian. We've got Fed Chairman Powell speaking at 2 p.m. today, Eastern, but we've also got our very own Brian Caprice speaking at 2 p.m. on parabolic retracements.
Right.
So, you got to choose. And I tell you, we've got the Nadex How to Day Trade FX Markets Boot Camp. It's going to be starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. It goes for 5 hours. If you haven't registered, you can register. If you register, you'll get access to the recordings, as well as you'll be able to request the slide decks. And Brian is speaking at 2 p.m. on identifying and trading parabolic retracement moves at 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, with that, let's go ahead and talk about the markets, what we got this morning.
Yeah. Thus far, we've seen a little bit of movement. Most of it has been kind of the pound overnight. Besides that, everything else is more or less flat today. And again, with no economic news releases, there's not really a whole lot of catalyst out there. There has been some news from China coming out, but besides that, not really a whole lot. It just says that central bank, one of the biggest news releases or kind of things this morning is central banks see no way out of low interest rate trap. We see everybody around the world doing it. We ask questions if that's going to be the new normal or not. There's also a little bit of discussion about OPEC Plus discussing whether to hike output further in August. There's going to be a meeting about that. I actually wouldn't be surprised with the way that the price is moving up higher now, being up into the 70 range and nobody really batting an eye to it. With everybody, again, additional vaccine rollouts, I would actually expect there to be a hike. I feel that it could take, that could sustain maybe another $5 worth of drop on that one before kind of turning and going higher. So there's a little bit of movement there, and oil's not moving a ton today, but natural gas is actually responding to it. As far as obviously today, 2 o'clock, we have the testimony from Powell. I always love these type of releases because he actually releases what he's going to say ahead of time, not what the questions are going to be, and that's right. What we're really in there for. But it's funny that you can see right here that, CNBC had something yesterday talking about, and it's funny, I'll read this. It says, since we last met, the economy has shown sustained improvement. Powell said in remarks he will deliver Tuesday to the House Select Committee. So a lot of it is, what is he going to say? Oh, well, here's what his notes say. He's going to say this, right? So it's a lot of the same things that we've heard. He said inflation is there's a notably, and again, notably is good, but replaces, but has repeated his position that the price pressures are transitory. So it looks like he's going to stay on the transitory kind of avenue of it. Remember, there's two sides of the aisle. Both sides of the aisle will probably ask pointed questions to make it seem like they're on top of this. That's just how it is. It's how the politics get into it. I'm sure that they are going to press him about what notable means. particularly because, again, with low interest rates and the way that the market moves, there are certain populations that benefit more versus other populations. There's a bit of inequality when we have the type of scenario that we have right now. So they're going to want to get to the root of that and kind of again, it all goes back to what their constituents.
Yeah.
Man, I can't talk to that. It's only half a cup of coffee. I can't. It's just one of those days. But here's what gold has really done. I mean, this yellow circle. And I'm gonna make it a little bigger so you guys can see it right there. This is where we were yesterday, and we mentioned that gold was kind of smacked between a rock and a hard place, and you can see it went up a bit and then kind of dropped back down again. But we're in the exact same spot we were yesterday. Remember, for gold traders to really kind of jump on board, they got to start talking about rising inflation. The word transitory is really messing up gold right now. And again, some voting Fed members have already said it's not going to be as transitory as some people believe. Again, there's obviously some kind of battling in that Fed board. Remember, not every Fed member is a voting member. Besides Powell, a lot of the other members are kind of jumping on board, and there's a couple news releases. But right now, I would say two levels we need to watch out for in gold. Right, 1791 seems to be the top side of that channel, and I would say the bottom side is 1764ish. It's it's a $30 range, so there is some tradable kind of room in there, but it's one of those things that the way that it's consolidating in, it's really waiting for a big statement. Could Powell say today in testimony? Absolutely. Remember, everything the Fed does is prepared ahead of time. He probably actually even has a list of questions that he assumes he's going to get, but it doesn't mean somebody's going to throw him a curveball that he's not kind of prepared for and then kind of twist what he says. I mean, that's the way the testimonies go inside of the Senate. So it's not moving a ton. Things that go along with this, if you look at the dollar index, dollar index kind of came off that level of buyers and is pushing back up, but is also kind of smashed between a rock and a hard place right now. And that's something we got to watch out for. And the other driving factor recently, when I say recently, in the last 6 months, that has really helped gold and has been a factor in gold, has been the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
They're having their own nightmare right now with China further cracking down and suggesting that other countries crack down as well. Bitcoin right now, guys, is under $30,000.
Yeah.
So that's a big number.
Well, while people are trading through that, I'm just surprised gold hasn't seen a corresponding rally where people definitely were shifting out of gold and into cryptocurrencies as they're I don't know if people are just hanging on to their cryptos, watching them go down and down and down and just adding to dollar cost average.
And that's probably what it
here.
Yeah, you got to think about who. I mean, and again, look at it across the board. Look at who was investing in these. Obviously there was some institutional play in there, but the people like, it's going to 100,000. As it comes lower, they're going to hold it. Professional traders will cut a loss very, very short. Amateur traders will hold it, hoping that it comes back again. And that's the way that these things work. Bitcoin is down. Ethereum is down again, back under 1,800.
Yeah.
AMC down. GME down. Dogecoin back at 17 cents. So the people that are the biggest traders in these are all the people that will hold them until they go back down to zero. And again, there was an article this morning, Mark Cuban. He was investing in Titan Coin. He got into it months ago where it was $60. Now he admitted that, I made a mistake. I should have looked at the numbers. And now it's only worth a few pennies, and he's lost a huge chunk of change there.
Now,
again, his huge chunk is much different than ours is. Yeah. But again, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that these are all going to the – no. So understand, the market is Elon is now considered the enemy for Dogecoin. I mean, all the tides turn. Gold is one of those things that it's going to forever be a traditional asset out there. And what it needs, we don't currently have from the Fed. They're saying that this inflation is not real. It's disappearing.
Right.
So again, there is some potential today. And if he does mention it, again, if he's down, if we're down here at that 1764, I mean, this is gold pretty beaten up, right? I mean, I can bring this back and
right.
Gold was up.
I just had it,
Yeah.
I mean, hold on. Let me bring it. It's worse. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gold getting absolutely.
We were up at 1915.
Yeah. I mean, it just got demolished.
We were way up there. So it's one of those things. It's going to need some talk from Powell. And again, I believe that Powell doesn't want to acknowledge it. I do believe that a lot of the other presidents are acknowledging it. And remember, it's not a one-person vote. It is a vote of numerous members. A lot of those other kind of sub-members have all said that it's not going to be as transitory as we think. And understand, an inflation bubble is not necessarily the best thing in the world. Everybody's like, low interest rate, it's great. But there's a lot of problems that are caused by it.
Yeah.
eventually they are going to have to do something, and that's when gold will have its day and be able to kind of go crazy.
Yep. All right, let's take a look at one other market. Let's look at the equity
Sure.
markets.
Yeah.
Just because that's what everyone's talking about. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a parabolic retracement. This is where we were of one.
Yeah, I mean, here's where we were sitting yesterday, right here, and we mentioned a break above that 41.90. We were watching the VIX come down, and again, here's what the VIX did yesterday. The VIX continued to drive down, and again, you can see in the overnight it drove down. It's pushed up a little bit, but again, it's morning time. It's got to kind of retrace a little bit, but it is still down 2.68%.
Yeah,
VIX goes down. It tends to be, that means there's less volatility, there's less fear in the market. So could this continue to go higher? It could, but remember, it's got to remove the sellers in this area. And it did. It dinged right off of that level we talked about yesterday. We talked about taking your profit at 42.21, not to get greedy, not to mess with these sellers, and it did. It ended up hitting those sellers at about 12:30 last night, in the middle of the night, and continued to push down, and then at 4:30 rallied back up again. So, yesterday was a good day. With the VIX coming down, but this is a lot of movement for it not to kind of retrace back again. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we kind of tilt over. And again, Powell's going to have a lot of control today. Depending on what he says, we can read what his notes are. I mean, you can obviously see what he's going to say later today, but it's the questions that he's not prepared for. And again, a lot of times if he's in good with the senators, they let him know, hey, listen, this is what I'm going to ask. So it's ready and you can be prepared. Right. There's always going to be one or two of those guys. It's not going to be a team player that's going to try to zing them on something.
They're going to play aha, gotcha, and it's politics.
Yeah, and it is. A lot of the issues we're seeing now. I don't know if you guys saw it. American Airlines had to cancel like 100,000 flights because they just don't have the labor force right now.
Right.
Yeah. Remember, the unemployment situation right now is. And again, it's because of the federal benefits. Again, not to play politics. One side said that this was going to happen. The other one said, no, it wouldn't. People do the right thing. Well, guess what? It's happening.
Yeah.
People are closing down. Restaurants are closing a day because they don't have staff, because people are not going back because of the unemployment benefits. So again, it's not like we're keeping score because there's nothing we can do about it. We can't go back in time. But again, this is why it's important to look at everything and not just be like, oh, this politics. Okay, that side. Oh, it's this side.
No,
you got to look at the whole figure.
And, absolutely.
That's what we're seeing.
It's
across the board. It's not one sector.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say in the S&P 500 and the ES, there's the binary options to be taken a look at. There, we are seeing. I mean, you did see. I mean, we've recovered from the sell-off on Friday. All the way back. We had some surprise comments last week from Bullard, who kind of caught the markets by surprise. So now we're sort of in this area where, we don't know. We'll see what Powell has to say. But there are some technical levels in here where buyers are stepping in, and where sellers also are stepping in. So binary options, interesting way to play that. Just keep an eye on it in case Powell is throwing a curveball and he does say, but I would doubt he would say something totally off the cuff. He's a pretty measured speaker.
Yeah, switch it back over real quick for me.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing, and this is one scenario that I could see, like I said, the more he says that's not going to matter. Like a lot of the other Fed chiefs have already said, or presidents have already said, yeah, it may be slightly transitory, but not that much. Remember, we take something as transitory, assuming that it's going to come all the way back to 2%. If he means that the transitory is 2.5% or 3%, because remember, he said they were going to let it run hotter than normal.
Right.
And again, we never really truly got clarification. When we did, it was a little bit higher, that 3%. Transitory may only mean 2.5% or maybe 2.8%, which is still higher than what their mandate. Unless they change the mandate, they are going to have to do something. And remember, we're talking about having 2 raises now in 2023, and I forget who it was. Actually mentioned we could potentially have one in 2022 if he puts more kind of kind of credence behind that. I would say if price is able to drop down again, we've taken a bounce off this 42.06 level. Again, that was the European Open, and again, nice level to come off of until now. If we come through and don't bounce off of that, a break of 42.10 could lead. I'm sorry, 42.01 could lead us back to the origin of the move, which is all the way back down here at 41.74. Then you could say, well, hey, what happened in 2 days? Nothing. We go into Wednesday and we're at the exact same place. So it doesn't really change a lot for a trader. It kind of goes up and down, but that's how they make money. It goes up, they find an area of sellers, they take profit and roll back down. And meanwhile, the retrader says, oh, look, oh, we got to buy it. We're all the way back up again. No big deal. Let's just go.
No, it's already made that move. Now
money.
now the people who rode the move up are getting out, taking their profits and selling it.
Yep.
So
it's just a game back and forth,
Yeah.
So again, you got to be cautious of what you see. But again, a basing at 4,200, and then a slow pop right below that. Again, that could be a signal to sell down to 4174.
Yep. All right. Well, we've definitely some things to be looking at today. With that, you got any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. Got any questions for Brian? You can also email him at support@keeptradingsimple.com. We're going to have the boot camp going on all day. Keep your eyes on the markets. I mean, things are bouncing around in between ranges. We gave you some interesting ranges there in gold, as well as the the S&P 500. And remember, Powell is testifying today at 2 p.m. And he will get some. Once he reads through his pre-prepared comments, he will get some hardballs. He will get some hardballs, and I know that's what everyone's going to be paying attention to. And if you wanted to hear Brian on parabolic retracements, he's going to be speaking at our event, which the link is in there today at 2. And again, if you can't make it, go ahead and register for the event. You'll get access to the recordings as well as the opportunity to request the slide decks. With that, want to wish everyone good luck in the markets, and Brian and I'll catch you again tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone.